Welcome to the lesson 14 of OpenXava. In the previous lesson, we saw how we could create an external file from which to load properties into our application that we could use to create our custom business logic. And we saw how in the way we can avoid modifying the code every time we want to change these properties. You can see more about this lesson following the link here. In this lesson, we will see how we can modify the table for our database using SQL statements in order to learn how to modify our schema, which already has information and records, without affecting them. When we use things like calculation or default value calculator annotations, the automatic evolution schema provided by OpenXava falls short, because it adds a new column when you add a new property, but it does not fill the column with the correct values. In this case, we have added several persistent properties with the calculation annotation, whose values are not recalculated until the user interacts with the record. Moreover, we have a default value for that percentage that only has effect when the user creates a new record, but not on the existing records. We have to fill these new columns with reasonable values. Since we are at an early stage of development, simple deleting all records will be a good enough solution, but it sure isn't a good idea in production. So we will adjust our database to the new code without losing data to illustrate the schema manual evolution. The easy way is to use the application itself to perform this update. We are going to do it to update the price for all the products. For our new calculated properties to work well, all products must have a price, so we need to go to the product mode with our browser and make sure all products have a price. So, start the application, and when we log in, we need to go to products and make sure here that all products have their price. If a product don't have a price, we can edit here, add the price here, and save again. The next changes are not so simple because we are going to execute SQL statements against our database. To execute these SQL statements, first we make sure that our application is running, so go here and execute it again. The next step is going here to OpenXava, click here and click on Database Manager. Now here we are ready to write the statements. We start setting value for price per unit in all columns in this way. And now we need to execute this statement here. Click. And now here we can see the update count. Now we will update the VAT percentage for all invoices. So click here to clear and write this code. And that's it. Now we execute it. Here we have another update account and clear it. Now it's time to update the VAT. Now we execute this statement OK, and clear it. And finally, we update the total amount for all invoices. We execute this last statement and we have finished. These sentences works nicely with HSQLDB, that is the database included with OpenXava. If you are using another database, probably you need to adapt this syntax. Now we need to close the database manager and start our application to make sure all is working fine. When we enter our application and go to invoice in the list view, we can see that in the VAT field here we have all with the VAT percentage and the total amount all is calculated too. That's because we have modified our database schema through the SQL sentences. So our application now is working fine. In this lesson, we have seen how we can modify our database schema without losing any information in a production environment. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for future content, like this video, and you can leave a comment about this lesson. See you soon!